Sovereign in the mountain air, sovereign on the ocean floor, with me in the calm, with me in the storm. Sovereign in my greatest joy, sovereign in my deepest cry, with me in the dark, with me at the dawn. In your everlasting arms, all the pieces of my life, from beginning to the end, I can trust you. In your never failing love, you work everything for good. God, whatever comes my way, I will trust you. Sovereign in the mountain air, sovereign on the ocean floor, with me in the calm, with me in the storm. Sovereign in my greatest joy, sovereign in my deepest cry, with me in the dark, with me at the dawn. In your everlasting arms, all the pieces of my life, from beginning to the end, I can trust you. In your never failing love, you work everything for good. God, whatever comes my way, I will trust you. God, whatever comes my way, I will trust you. All my hopes, all I need, held in your hands. All my life, all of me, held in your hands. All my fears, all my dreams, held in your hands. Held in your hands. In your everlasting arms, all the pieces of my life, from beginning to the end, I can trust you. In your never failing love, you work everything for good. God, whatever comes my way, I will trust you. God, whatever comes my way, I will trust you. God, whatever comes my way, I will trust you. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. So start a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. So start a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. So start a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. So set a fire place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. There's no place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be. No place I would rather be than here in your love, here in your love. So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. So set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Please bow your head with me as we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for your almighty power. Lord, and thank you for teaching me a lesson tonight that I don't have to be perfect because you are perfect for me. God, please be with the service tonight. Help people to see you, to feel you, and to learn from you. And just thank you for this place where we get to worship you with our hearts open. And we get to speak about you without being persecuted, Lord. That's a blessing in itself. And I'm nervous right now, God, but you take control no matter what, and I just thank you and praise you for that. Please be with this Sabbath and help us to feel your presence. In your name I pray, amen.
Acceptance. That one word sums up the deep desire in all of us to feel loved and wanted by our family and friends. Many of us transfer our human longing for acceptance onto God. We worry about whether or not we are good enough or whether his love can really save us. Agrera sought out Jesus' help when she was hopeless and desperate for the restoration of her daughter. But above healing, what she found in Jesus was acceptance. Acceptance of her as a Gentile, proving to everyone in her day that Jesus had come to save everyone, both the Jews and the Gentiles.
I heard that they came to Tyre because the village where they lived before ran them out.
Really? Why would they do that?
Come to Tyre? I don't know. I mean, like, it's a nice village and all. Like, you would think that they would...
why would their village run them out?
Oh, I don't know. It's not like I've asked her. But I bet it's because she has mixed blood.
She does?
Yes, she's Phoenician, and who knows what else. She's probably from one of those places where the whole village is mad. That's probably why they sent her to Tyre. And you know how her daughter's demon-possessed, right? Or, I mean, was. It's hard to believe that she's in her right mind again.
That's so true. I mean, why would that man, Yeshua of Nazareth, come here? We're not his people.
I know. It's strange and true. I heard his disciples thought that she was crazy too. No wonder. They say that she was throwing herself at him like a mad woman. Have mercy! Have mercy! Can you imagine? She's a woman and an immigrant woman. How dare she even speak to a Hebrew man. I'm surprised the elders didn't bring the whole village down on her for the embarrassment that she could have caused us.
But he didn't, remember? He healed her daughter.
Yes, that's what I don't understand. Why would he help her? It just doesn't
make sense. It just doesn't what? What's wrong with your face?
I don't care what they say about me. He did come for me, I'm sure of it. My daughter, my precious child, was suffering so horribly. I still don't understand why a demon would possess a child. I mean, what value can come from that other than the sadistic pleasure of watching her suffer? They were torturing the life out of her. So you see, I had one choice: to find the master, the Hebrew, Jesus, who I had heard commands even death and made demons tremble at merely the sound of his name. I was so excited when I found him, but really, he found me. In my blindness and desperation, though, I had only one thought, and that was for my daughter. So I cried out for mercy. And his disciples did indeed urge him to send me away. I mean, I expected him to send me away, or to at least ignore me. But instead he stopped. He said that he'd been sent only for the lost sheep, the people of Israel. But there was something in his face, something in his voice that gave me hope. And so I pushed on, begging, pleading, desperate for his help. He said that it wasn't fair to take the bread away from the children and to throw it to the dogs. I understood that. I didn't need to feel special. I didn't need to sit at his table. All I wanted was a crumb. Healing my daughter would be nothing for him. It would take nothing away from his people, but it would be everything to me. So when he smiled at me and told me that I had great faith and that the demon had been taken away from my daughter, it was like I was pulled to him. I mean, I was thrilled, of course, because my daughter was healed, but it was like there was more. I suddenly was not satisfied with the crumbs. I wanted to sit at his table. I wanted to be one of his children. When I heard that he got arrested, I knew that I had to go. So I made the long journey to Jerusalem. I didn't get there in time, which I'm glad for, but I did see them take his body down from the cross. I was stunned. I mean, how could they not know who he was, his own people? I don't know why I stayed, but I knew I just could not make myself take the long journey back home. So I waited and waited. And then I heard it. Just a whisper of rumor in the marketplace. Just a hint of hope near the well. When I crossed paths with one of his followers, I was finally able to hear the whole story. He was alive. He had risen. When I met him, I was finally able to worship at his feet, to know that I, Aguirre, woman of no country or people, daughter of an unknown race, was one of his children. That this magnificent God who commands even the demons touched my life and made me his. What kind of love is that? What kind of love accepts even me? The kind that I'm so unworthy of, but have needed my entire life so very desperately.
You never change. You are the God you say you are. When I'm afraid, You come and still my beating heart. You stay the same when hope is just a distant thought. You took my pain and you led me to the cross. What love is this that you gave your life for me? You made a way for me to know you, and I confess you're always enough for me. You're all I need. I look to you. I see the scars upon your hands and hold the truth that when I can't, you always can. I'm standing here beneath the shadow of the cross. I'm overwhelmed, 'cause I keep finding open arms. What love is this that you gave your life for me? It made a way for me to know you, and I confess you're always enough for me. You're all I need. Jesus, in your suffering, you were preaching. You thought of me. Oh, Jesus, in your suffering, you were preaching. You thought of me. What love is this that you gave your life for me? It made a way for me to know you, and I confess you're always enough for me. You're all I need. Oh, what love is this that you gave your life for me and made a way for me to know you, and I confess you're always enough for me. Always enough for me.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry. So, welcome last night, week of prayer. Glad you're all here. My name's Greg. I'm a senior at GCA. And tonight, I'm going to speak to you guys. So, before we begin, I'd like to pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for everything you've given us. Lord, thank you for allowing me to be here, for calling me to deliver this message for you. Tonight, Lord, please take away my nerves, take away anything that could hinder me. Lord, please just speak through me, make me your vessel, and help everyone to be able to receive your message tonight. Thank you for your many blessings. Amen. Amen. So tonight, we focused on the story of the Canaanite woman that comes up to Jesus in the land of Tyre and Sidon and everything. So I kind of want to just jump straight into the Bible on this. So it's found in Matthew 15, verses 21 and 28. Here's the story. And it says, leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from that vicinity came to him, crying out, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly. Jesus did not answer a word, right? So his disciples came to him and urged him, send her away. She keeps crying out to us. Keeps crying out to us. He answered the woman, I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. All right, that's okay, Jesus. The woman came and knelt before him. Lord, help me, she said. He replied, it's not right to take the children's bread, toss it to the dogs. Okay, what's he talking about here? Anyways, and she replies, yes, it is, Lord. She said, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Then Jesus said to her, woman, because he didn't know her name, he said, woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted, and her daughter was healed at that moment. And a lot of people get kind of off in this story because if you look through it, the Jesus that we always see as the loving, caring, kind of refers to her as a dog. And you're like, whoa, what? And when she first asks for healing, he doesn't say anything. And it's like, whoa, what? What's going on, Jesus? And then he says, I'm only for the Jews. And we're like, whoa, but we don't know that. And then after all that, he just turns around and is like, yeah, just kidding. I'm here for everyone. I'm here for you too. Gotcha. I'm like, okay. Well, before we kind of get more into that, I want to go give a brief history lesson. It goes back 2,000 years. This is around 0 BC, 180-ish. It goes back 2,000 years, back to Abraham. And, the promise of a son, have a great nation. And Sarah couldn't have kids, and she had little faith, so she's like, have a son with Hagar. So he does. And they have Ishmael. And eventually, God fulfills his promise, like he said, like he always does. And they have Isaac. And then eventually, Sarah gets jealous and a little angry, and they kick Hagar out. Kick her out, just make her leave. And then you read in the Bible, they almost die. But God's like, no, I got you, I'll save you. You're still going to have a great nation come from you. And if you look, the Jewish people tie themselves back all the way to Isaac. And they're a great nation now, and they're in that area. And another great nation that's very prominent in that area is the nation of Islam, which ties their lineage back to Ishmael. And now you see they have these two massive, very powerful, both similar beliefs, different in different ways, tie them back to Abraham. It's just which son is whatever. So you already have that kind of sibling rivalry from like thousands of years ago. And you even see it today. It's all they're fighting over land, and there's all these different disputes, and it seems like they just can't like take 2 deep breaths and like get along for a couple years. They just can't stop fighting. And even then, if you follow the Jews, you can even see how they even get more exclusive by Jesus' time, because after that, Abraham leaves, and eventually, after the famines and everything, they end up in Egypt. Things are going great for them, man. Joseph's doing them great things. They actually prosper. I think they get even bigger than some of the Egyptians. And eventually, when Joseph dies, all the Egyptians are like, hey, I don't like this. They're getting strong. We have all these people, and they're not Egyptians, and this is Egypt, right? I guess they'd make great slaves. So 400 years later, they've been enslaved for 400 years, and they're being beaten and whipped. And then Moses comes, and God sends him, and to one of the most powerful empires, sends 10 supernatural, powerful, awe-inspiring plagues to say, these are my people, they're mine now. I want them back. So he frees them. They are freed from the evil Egyptians, and they keep moving on. And then they wander around the desert for a little bit. We don't like to talk about that sometimes. They wander about the desert because they complained. And then eventually they end up in the land of Canaan, where they have lots of people to fight. They got the Philistines. They're trying to fight them to get the land that God says, like a God that most of the people that live there don't believe in. And their God is like, no, that's yours, take it. And they're like, okay. So then they start fighting Philistines. They start fighting Ammonites, Moabites, Hittites, just all the different ites and everything. I don't know. And maybe some Steens too. I'm not sure. It's just there's all these different like foreign names that they're just fighting constantly, and it just keeps happening. And then so it's kind of them against the world, sitting in this small little plot of land, going, God told us this is ours. No ites are taking this from us. This is ours. No, I don't want any outsiders. Jews, God's for us. This is ours. And then here come the Romans. They kind of just kick them on their side, and no, it's ours now. So they've been under the oppression of the Romans for a while too. And so when you look at it all, they're just kind of being just like, the whole world's against them. To them, it looks like, if you're not Jewish, you're against us, because every other non-Jew that we've had to deal with has either been nice to us at the first and then betrayed us and made us slaves, or just outright try to kill us and make us worship idols, or made us give them taxes. Who knows? They've just had all these enemies coming at them. And so we focus now on the Canaanite woman. The Canaanite woman. She, of course, and also she lives in the area. The Canaanites are people that lived in the land of Canaan alongside the Jews. And the Jews are over here. This is ours. What are you doing? Get out here. We don't like you. So the Canaanite woman's just like, okay, all right. Just the Canaanites, they didn't like each other at all. They were fighting over the land. Canaanites were there first, and then they get mad at them, and they get mad back, and it's just terrible, like sibling rivalry almost, of just mutually hating each other. So when you look at the Canaanite woman in this story, she comes up, and the first thing she does, she doesn't go like, have time. She just knows what she wants. She's just like, Lord, please heal my daughter. Please, please, please. And of course, it says Jesus didn't say a word, and it's like, all right, I'm not sure what happened there. And what she's longing for, she's asking, she's pleading. She even says she kneels down, which is, such a sign of weakness in that culture especially. Even now, if you kneel before someone, it's like either respect or fear or whatever. It's not a graceful position to be in. So you see her, and she's just something that she wants. There's this one thing that she really wants, and she really wants it bad, because she does not stop. Man, the disciples are trying to get her away, but no, she doesn't stop. And that one thing is she wants Jesus to heal her daughter. And even more than that, she knows this Jew already has, or she assumes that this Jew, just like any other Jewish man she's had to deal with, is going to give her a hard time, or would probably not even say a word to her at all, let alone. But she knows she believes she's going to face that when she goes to Jesus. So why does she long for this so much? She just wants Jesus to accept her. Because if Jesus accepts her, if Jesus even has the desire to just like sneeze, oh yeah, she's healed. Boom, her daughter's like good. Like Jesus probably could just like sneeze and daughter's okay. I believe he's that powerful. She just wants him to accept him just enough for her daughter. Because her daughter will probably die or live a long life of just hell on earth. Suffering terribly. She even says it like right there, suffering terribly. So she's a young girl, and she's already having major issues. And if it doesn't kill her, she's going to live a long life of just plain agony. So she longs for, and she just wants this request. She doesn't want to be rejected by Jesus. She just wants to be accepted. That's like the one thing she wants. She doesn't care if anything gets in her way. She just wants that. And so I'm going to come out of the story for a second. And I just want to talk what do we want? We're just like this woman. There's something we want. There's always kind of that one thing. Like you may want this or that and that, but it's always just focused down to one thing. Especially in high school. Oh, my goodness. Especially in high school. We just want to be accepted. We don't want people to reject us. No. We don't want any of that. We want to be normal in a sense, because the people that look normal look like they're accepted. And if you're accepted, we get this idea that being accepted is being loved, having joy, happiness. Being friends means you're a better person. Being popular or well-liked or getting compliments for something changes what you're worth as a human. That if you don't have much skill, well, then why are you even breathing? We get this terrible, terrible mixed up confusion. So with looking for acceptance. So when it comes to the opposite, and when we're rejected, when we're rejected, we do not, and when I say we a lot, I'm just saying as myself and plural. I am totally guilty of this as well. But when someone rejects us, we don't like them. If for some reason someone calls you or criticizes you or says something you don't like about you, you're not talking to them for a while. Someone, I don't know, just a really silly example for a second, is someone just made fun of you because you did bad on a test. All right, fine, man, you're ugly. I don't care. I don't care about you. And then you don't talk to them. Or every time you see them, you just get like this bad feeling in your chest or your leg or whatever. Just something's not right when you're with that person because you just don't like them. They rejected you in either a little or a big way, and you don't like them. And like sometimes you don't even know why. Just ever since you met them, they just rub you the wrong way. And you just can't get to the point. And so once we start rejecting people, we start trying to protect our accepted image, we become arrogant. We become like, prideful. We're like, okay, this is me. I have these people that accept me. Okay, we don't really meet new people because if we meet new people, they have the chance to reject us, and rejected, I don't want that. I'm getting away from that. I want my nice little 3 friends. I'm accepted. Yes, I'm all good. So, being that, and then especially with meeting new people, we get afraid. We avoid rejection like it's poison or a blazing bonfire or whatever. We just get away from it. So we just get this fear if we think that there's the chance of being rejected. We get afraid if we think that there's even a possibility that we could have that terrible emotion of being rejected again. Because it goes all the way back to just how you weigh your own worth. And it paralyzes you. There's so many things that probably once you you start growing up and you look back on your life, there's things you look back and like, man, I really wish I did that freshman year. I really wish I went on that trip. I know I didn't have many friends, but looking at all the pictures, I really wish I went. It looks fun, hearing all the great experiences. I had that same thing too. I didn't go on prayer conference till last year, and oh goodness, I missed out 2 years, man. I would not trade those 2 trips for anything, but I could have had 4. Anyways, so back on the fear of rejection, it just changes us. So even more now with rejection, I want to tell you a little something about myself. As you can see, it's a little hard because I'm like on a raised platform, and also I have my dress shoes, so they had like ½ an inch, but I'm short. I beat the girls' average. It's like my little girls' average of 5'4". I'm 5'7" right now. And, aw, so sweet. Anyways, and I've known I've been short ever since 2nd grade. And I know that specifically. I don't remember who it was, but I remember some of the little twerp friends in my class. We were walking by each other. You walk in class, be quiet, and you see other classmates. We were walking by, and I remember kids were like giggling, like a little high-pitched giggle behind you, and you're like, what's going on? And later they tell me, and like, hey, we were just laughing. And I'm like, why? And you're like, and they're like, oh, we looked over, and there's kindergartners taller than you. And I'm just like, oh, okay. All right. I was short. And then from then on, I kind of realized it. So as we keep going through my awkward elementary middle school years, my parents started noticing that the height difference between me and my classmates was starting to get less of a late bloomer and more of, that might be a bit of an issue. I'm being legitimately serious. It might be an actual problem. So we go see a doctor, and it's a special doctor. Insurance luckily covered it. And it's called an endocrinologist, like a thyroid growth doctor. Basically the guy you go to if you think you have like growth problems as a kid, or if you have like diabetes or any other imbalance of anything. So we go to him, and we see him for a total of 5 years, and we go twice a year because he's really busy because there's not many kid endocrinologists. And I remember majority, if not every single time we went as the patient, I was asked to get up and go sit outside of the patient room. And I didn't know why. I was a little kid. I had a DS. I just sat up there and played for whatever. And later, of course, I asked, why do you always guys ask me to leave? My parents like, we were just getting so frustrated and angry with that doctor. You know, he would just be so stubborn. We were just trying to get help or answers from him. And they didn't want me there while they're yelling at this guy. Yeah. And by they, I mean mainly my mom. And so after the 5 years, we go for my physical. It's the summer before freshman year. We go for my physical that GCA requires. And my doctor, who, you know, my physical doctor, she comes up to my mom. She's like, hey, he's 14. He's like 4'10"-ish, 4'9"-ish. That's not right. And it's not just late bloomer too, because my father was a late bloomer. My mom is very short. So there's some hereditary possibility. So you might want to go and we're like, mom's like, oh, we've been seeing this endocrinologist and everything, and I mean, it's a pain in the butt, and so she's like, oh, there's some new lady. Go see this person. And that lady was such a blessing. As soon as we get in the office, she sees me and she's like, oh, crap. Because she's also very short, and I was not the tallest in the room. And she was like 5 foot. So, and she's like, how old are you? And I'm like, 14. And she's like, have you done a growth hormone test? And I'm like, what? Mom's like, what? And, you know, seeing the 5 years, what we didn't realize is that that doctor didn't really do much for us. He did the typical, like, x-rays that you're supposed to do to check on your bone growth. And I think one time he just prescribed pills for me. And when we went to the new lady, she even told me the pills did, like, you know, it's not going to do enough. So I get the test, the growth hormone test. I remember you get an IV for like 3 hours, and you get like 10 samples taken, big pain, but they had a nice little TV, so. Anyways, so I take the test. I don't remember what the scale was for average, levels. I don't remember what the units were. It's just I remember them telling me, and like my mom, she told me, it's like 10, if you're below 10, that's deficient. Like you're classified as deficient, you can get, you know, the treatment so that, you know, you get more and you're not behind. And I remember I wasn't 0, I was below 2. So I was really missing a lot. So immediately she gets the growth hormone treatment. It's like little daily injections. They're not that bad. Little diabetes needle. And she gets them to me, and I realize something's not right. And she is definitely like, oh, we gotta rush to get them to him. You gotta start right now. And we're like, oh, what's going on? And I realized that especially when I get the packet, and some of you have seen me use this backpack, and if you noticed, then good for you. But it's a really small backpack. You know, it has all your stuff in it. You open it up, and of course I threw out the other stuff because I don't want people to know about it or anything, so I was kind of ashamed. And I put it had a little nice cooler, and then had a nice little coloring book. And all these cute little characters explaining how the treatment works and needles are okay. And I realized the treatment I was getting is for 9-year-olds, and I'm 14. That's not right. This is not right. And so what the lady tells us is eventually she starts asking me some more questions. I think we did like a couple more tests. And it's not like a problem, but in my case, it did not help at all. And it was like early onset puberty, which in the growth sense, all that really matters is to know what it does to your bones. And as puberty starts, and you know all the different hormones start going through your body and everything, your bones, as you're growing, they refer to them as open and closed. I'm not sure specifically. I'm not an A&P. But they're open, and that means they have room for your growth hormone to go through your body and make longer bones, of course, so you don't have issues. And as puberty progresses, it comes to a point when it gets, I think it's in the middle or the end, and they close. And once they're closed, you're just about done growing. Like even if you continue the treatment, they tell you, if you continue it, you can get permanent like joint damage because your bones try to grow, but there's nowhere else to go, so your joints will be permanently locked in places and be permanently impaired, and that's terrible. So I start kind of freaking out. The lady's like, oh, I think we could get a year of treatment. I'm like, a year? How well does this stuff work? And she's like, oh, I mean, she's not too specific because it's different per person. And I'm like, oh, goodness. I might be stuck here for a while. And, just all the insecurities and worries of middle and elementary school just kind of like climaxed right there, because through all that time, we didn't know. And my family, my dad was a very late bloomer. He grew in college. He's like my same height the whole time. And then, boom, college. He's 5'11", looking good. And, and so I always had that hope of, I mean, when I grow up, I'll shoot up and everything. I'll get taller. And then I might not. So my little excuse, my little white lie I told myself every time someone made fun of me, or I couldn't do something because I was too small. And I was, too small in both height and muscle too, because when you don't have growth hormone, your muscles don't develop right. They're not as strong or, not as strong or healthy. And so all that just kind of climaxed, and I'm like, oh, goodness. What am I going to do? Of course, when I go to boarding academy, eventually I get on, like, around second semester, I had a roommate that I was able to, tell him about, and because I didn't want people to know, because I didn't want people to, rumors to spread and people to mishear, thinking Greg's shooting up on steroids or something. No, it was a very serious concern, because I didn't want to have other people making fun of me for no reason when they don't know the context. And I was very afraid of that as well. So luckily, I'm really happy. I'm like praising God. I'm thankful for it. But I was able to get 3 years of treatment. I ended right before we went on the Tanzania trip. So that was last summer. That's when I stopped doing the daily treatment. And looking back, it's such a blessing to have made 5'7". And it's not even that tall of a height. Yes, I say it's past the girl's average, but the guy's average is 5'9". And I'm actually not really 5'7". I'm 5'6.5". I just round up because it sounds nicer. I do. It's easier. It's less words. And like I can be angry. There's so much I can just like brood and like get just about. I could blame the 5 years of that doctor wasting our time. I could blame not having the common sense to just like Google it or something. I don't know. I was very proficient on computers. It could have taken, and I'm being serious here, it could have taken 2 like searches, and I would have been like, hey, Mom, I just saw this. It's a problem. Should we like check it out? If I'd done that when I was 9, I'd probably be average 5'11", maybe even 6 foot. I don't know how much it would have been. There's so many things. I could have had like a massive self-esteem boost because I knew I was getting help and I had plenty of time. There's so many ifs and buts, and I can just brood and get angry. Why didn't that doctor help? Why didn't I think of something? What did I do wrong? Why am I short? Why don't we see my mom being short and be like, there's so much I could just be frustrated about. But it gets me nowhere. I'm this height. I'm blessed and so thankful I am this height. But that's it. If I had less, I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be still insecure. I probably would never accepted even going up front. I probably would never joined praise band because I valued my worth and what people thought of me and what my friends said. And my height and being normal just totally climaxed all into it and make this terrible pot of gross insecurity. And, goodness, I'm so glad that there's God, because if I didn't know there was a guy that loved me no matter what, I don't think I'd, be willing to come up and talk right now. Just because there's so many things. So I struggle with this. I could be angry, and I'm not the only person that can be like this. There's people who maybe they have an issue, or maybe they have a medical issue or a personal issue that might be too tall for what they're expected. They might be too skinny. They might be too big. There might be someone who's too dark. There's too white, too pale. Too anything. You can be too anything because there's no normal, because we're all different. You can be too anything. And I could brood or pray, God, why didn't you make me taller? And I'm not the only person that could have done that. This Caananite woman, she's born a woman. That's one issue for this time period. And that is because women were very much down looking on. And even more than then, is she's a Canaanite woman. So she's even more down looked upon by the Jewish people. She's already got the Canaanites that are like putting her back in the house to clean and take for the kids, and then she tries and goes out and does something, and then she's got these Jews that just hate her for no reason. There is no reason except she is Canaanite, and they are Jew, that they hate each other. And she's like, fine, hate me. I already have enough issues with my own people. So, there's so many different things that can go into this beforehand. So I want to go back to the story. I'm going to go through it a little bit slower now. And back in the story, there's a lot of different things. First main point with the story that you can see is this is not a story that is teaching the Canaanite woman. No. Jesus is not teaching the Canaanite woman. He is teaching his disciples. They say one line, but that's all you need to know about what they're doing. This is a lesson not for her. She has the faith. Jesus knows this. He's teaching his disciples. Keep that in mind. So in the very beginning, she starts crying out, Lord, Son of David, a very respectful way to call him Son of David, the Messiah. That's like, barely even half the Jews barely even did that. Lord, Son of David, please have mercy on me. Have mercy. Well, okay. She's asking. My daughter is demon-possessed and suffering terribly. And now when it says Jesus did not say a word, that was a typical response for a Jewish man. That's what every single one of those disciples was thinking Jesus would do. Because Jesus is a Jewish man. Culture, that's what most Jewish men did. Don't even acknowledge her. She's a dog. I don't even have to acknowledge her. And all the disciples are like, at first they're probably like, yeah, Jesus, ignore this Canaanite filth. This woman who doesn't know her place. Ignore her. But of course, she keeps pleading and yelling, and I think actually that she is at a distance from Jesus, and the disciples are getting in between her because they can't get her to get away, and she's still crying out. And so the disciples are just like, okay, we can't get her away. Hey, Jesus, she really wants to talk to you. We tried. It's been like half an hour. She's not stopped yelling. Could you get her to leave? So Jesus is like, okay. He obviously knows the whole situation, what's going on. And he goes and he says, a typical response is what all the disciples would expect, probably in a very mocking, fancy manner. I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel. And all the disciples over here like, yeah, tell that Canaanite woman, yeah. She's not, Jesus ain't here for you, she's for us. We're the Jews, we're the lost sheep. Jesus is here for us. Get out of here, filth, dog, whatever. So the woman who hears this goes and kneels. So even gets even more low and have mercy and is like, Lord, please help me. And Jesus keeps going again. The disciples are like, yeah, tell her, Jesus, tell her. And Jesus is like, it's not right to take the children's bread. He's referring to the Israelite Jews as children. Their bread, bread of life. Toss it to the dogs. So now he's saying what they all common slang used as Canaanites. And he's like, yeah. And he says that. She's still kneeling there. She doesn't get up and leave. She's still there. And all the disciples are like, yeah, tell him, Jesus. She doesn't get our bread. You're our bread of life. You're for the Jews. You're going to help us beat up the Romans, and we're going to be a great nation again. Not for this Canaanite filth. Get her out of here. Probably all like high-fiving in the background. I don't know. And after hearing that, she's still kneeling, and she goes, yes, it is, Lord. And she uses his analogy to tell why she should still have at least a little bit of acceptance. She says, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. She just called the Jews her master. She just accepted the little thing she said because remember, all she really wants is just that little sliver, that crumb of acceptance. So her daughter's good. So her daughter's healed and everything's fine and happy and dandy. She says that. And she replies and she doesn't do it. And Jesus goes, woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted. And her daughter was healed at that moment. And this is the moment where she's kneeling down. There's so many times she could have just been like, oh, fine, call me a dog. I'll find some other healer. I don't need you as much as I think. You rejected me. Or, have the impression of, you rejected me. What are you doing? I thought you were supposed to heal. And here you are, you call me a dog. Just so many, even when he didn't even say a word, she could have just left him like, all right, he doesn't want to talk to me. All right, I'm going to find some other healer. Crap. But no, she keeps crying. The disciples are getting away. And she doesn't care about the disciples. And then Jesus talks to her and tells her, I'm not here for you. And she's like, no, please, anything. I don't have pride anymore. I don't need anything anymore. I just want just that sliver of acceptance. I just want you to just accept me enough so you can snap your fingers and my daughter's okay. That's all she wanted and needed. And she was on the ground, probably groveling even, on the ground before Jesus, like, please. And then back to the woman you have, and then when he replies, he doesn't know her name, so he goes, woman, you have great faith. This is when all the disciples over here are like, yeah. Wait. What? And Jesus goes, your request is granted. So her daughter's healed. And all the disciples are over here like, wait. What? Jesus. She's Canaanite. And it doesn't write that in there, the little conversations I have in between some of the stories. But I can totally see Jesus just turning around and being like, I'm here for everyone. I don't know what you were thinking. Obviously, you do not understand why I'm here. I'm here for everyone. I'm here for this Canaanite woman. I've tested her faith to show you disciples who will keep on and grow up to be the apostles that spread Christianity all over the world. And Jesus knows there's something great planned for his disciples, and he tells them, he's like, and in the way he acts, everything that happens, he's just telling them right there to their face. He just says, I'm here for everyone, even her. I'm here for more than just the Jews. And of course, the woman was like, oh, thank you, and almost felt loved and hugged Jesus and then left. And in Mark, it says she went home and saw her daughter on the bed, healed. No more suffering or terrible. She was just resting. And so we find all this. We find that little sliver. We look for that little sliver because we think that's all we deserve. It's all we need. All we need is that little sliver. You can't even tell what I'm doing. I'm actually just holding my fingers together because it's so small. We just want that because we just want anything we can get. We don't like ourselves. We think we have to be normal. We think we have to have all these different things for anyone to love us. Whether it is our parents or our friends or our mentors, we just need to have that one thing we're good at or whatever to be loved. And we expect that. And then when people tell us about Jesus' love, we come to them and we're like, and we just know how much we need it. And we're just like, okay, God, I've messed up a lot. I'm sorry. I tried to not, and I'm sorry, Lord. Just, could you just, forgive me real quick? I know, please. And God's like, what are you doing? You're my son. You're my daughter. I created you. You are mine. I love you. You think you're going to get this? Well, you're probably going to start here. It's going to go that way for a long time. Keep going. And then about a couple days later, it'll come back around and it'll keep going. It'll keep going. Just to measure how much God's love is, because there is no measure. We can't measure. We expect this and we get everything. We get all his love and mercy. But all we have to do is just put down your pride and just be like, God, I know you can accept. I know you accept people. I know I've messed up, Lord. I'm so sorry for all the times I've been stupid. I hurt people. I betrayed. I procrastinated. Whatever. But so just come to him. And when you expect this or this, you get so much more. You get an immeasurable amount. That's why so many times you see immeasurable or awe-inspiring, especially in the book of Psalms. You see it because there's no real easy way to describe it. And so we go on to this accepting and finding our acceptance in Christ. And okay, we come to God. We accept his love washes over us. And then it fills us up. And then it keeps filling us up. And it fills us up and over. And if you want to accept anyone truly as a brother or sister in Christ or anything, you got to accept yourself first. It starts with you. So many times people reject us and we blame it on ourselves. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, if only I was taller, if only I was thinner or whatever. And you get angry. If only I was less awkward. I don't know. Everyone has their own reasons. But nearly every single time, it's their problem. They have their own insecurity. They want to feel the same thing that you're looking for. So they try a fake way. Devil's like, hey, he like whispers to them, hey, you should make fun of him, you'll feel better. And you're like, I don't know. It's like, try it. You're ugly. I don't know. You're fat. I don't like you. And then you go off to your friends, and you're like, yeah. You see them suffer, like, yeah. It's fake. It's fake love and acceptance. It's not real. And so many times we get that twisted, warped mindset, like, that's where it all is. If we're over here rejected, we can't be over there with the cool kids being accepted. But we don't need to go there or there or there or there. We need to go up or right next to you because God is with us. He is there with you, holding on to you like, hey, don't listen to them. Stop listening to them. I'm right here. Just let me fill you up with my love. We have to just say, but I have all these fears and mistakes, and just, okay, God, I'm sorry. You're right. You can love me. And then, it's not always an instantaneous change. It's not always like a grand, fantastical, revelation. You feel that warm feeling in your chest. No, it's not that. I find it myself more as a daily little nudge. I find that it's not some grand, fantastical feeling accepting his love. It's a grand, fantastical every now and then. It's not just like, yeah, on fire, and then 2 weeks later, I have not studied my Bible in a little bit. Sorry. No, and we just have to stay connected with him. We just have to stay connected with him, because in my life, how I've seen him is not the fantastic and then I saw the back of Jesus standing there in glowing white, or he saved me from this amazing fire, or beast came out of the wilderness and I feared, and I said, Lord, help me. And he helped me. No, life's not like that. Life's real. Life's where someone gets you really angry and you're like, oh, God, just, if you don't do something, Lord, I really need you, because I'm about to kill this guy. If you don't help me, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be expelled, fired. My parents will kick me out of the house. I don't know what it is. I just need you right now. Or just those little things of patience, or you make the mistake of forgetting to study on a test. A simple thing. God's still there for you. He's not like, I'm kind of super powerful and you're asking for some help on a test that you didn't study for. And you're like, yeah. He's like, okay. And he helps you. He's with you. And through all that. So, once we get filled with his love, it overflows. It goes out to other people. Once we are filled and we accept ourselves, we can accept everyone else. We can accept him. We can accept that person we don't like. So tonight, as the praise band comes up, that's kind of like their cue. It's okay. As the praise band comes up, I have a challenge for you. It's a nice, easy little challenge. And this challenge for you all is to take the first step of accepting yourself, of saying you can't change what you're doing. You can't change how you're made. You've been made already. And God did it for a reason. And it's just accepting that. So tonight, my challenge is, first off, pray. It's just the easiest. You can always, no matter how quick, easy, you don't have to bow and land on your knees. You can just quickly pray. Second thing is get out your Bible. It might be a little hard to open for some of you who don't always. I'm very guilty of that as well. Or it might be well used. It doesn't matter, even on your phone. And there's a chapter, Psalms 139. It's an average-sized chapter. And it talks so much about how God has fearfully and wonderfully made you. and how he is so knowledgeable. He has so much idea, and he's just there and knows you and everything, and he knows so much, and he made you you. If he knows the wonders of the universe, then why would he choose to make you in your specific way? And after that, this is probably going to be the toughest part for many of you, because it was the toughest part for me. Some of the best advice I ever got is in your prayer in closing, think on the people that have rejected you and that have hated you. And then in the vice versa, think of the people that you've hated and you've rejected. This is the hardest part for most people. It's the hard part for me. I still just want to hold on to that anger and that pain. But just think on that and then just give it to God. Pray for them. Pray for forgiveness to God. Because it's also, when you sin, it's a problem between you and God too. Pray for forgiveness. If you don't feel like you want forgiveness or you can't, then pray for God to help you forgive. Because if he's the God of forgiveness, I'm pretty sure he can help you forgive. And when you do that, you're letting go. It's not your problem anymore. If they continue to be a jerk, it's not your problem anymore. You find it easier and easier to be patient with them, to not retaliate and get angry at them when they hurt you. It'll still hurt. It's not a shield, but it keeps you from hurting them back, because who knows what they're going through. So tonight, please, I urge you all to pray for them. Pray for the people. Pray for their, if you hear them give a prayer request about some family member, put that in pray for that as well. Because everyone has their own struggles. We all forget. We always get focused on our own. But just pray. Give it to God. God's immeasurable love and his immeasurable knowledge, his immeasurable power can easily handle that. You don't have to worry about that. So tonight, we'll be singing our theme song for the last time. It's Christ is Enough. And I want you guys to think on it in the chorus of Christ is enough for me. He's everything I need. Everything I need. Whether it's a big family crisis or a little mistake you made. Whether you insulted and seriously lost a friendship, or you saw someone who had a bad day and you didn't feel like doing anything about it, and you feel guilty. Whatever it is, big or small, no matter what, Christ is everything you need. So tonight, I urge you all to stand with me as we praise God and praise Jesus Christ for being everything we need.
Christ is my reward and all of my devotion. Now there's nothing in this world that can ever satisfy. Through every trial, my soul will sing, no turning back. I've been set free. Christ is enough for me. turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus, no turning back, no turning back. What's before me, the world behind me, no turning back, no turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me, no turning back, no turning back. Christ is enough for me. Christ is enough for me. Everything I need is in you. Everything I need. Christ is enough for me. Christ is enough for me. Everything I need is in you. Everything I need.
Please bow your head. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you so much for your sacrifice, Lord. Thank you so much for your immeasurable love for us, Lord. Thank you for being everything we need. Thank you for being there for the big and the small, Lord. Tonight, please be with us as we come to know you and we come to grow with you, Lord. Please be with us. Help us to forgive. Help us to forgive those who have hurted us and that we have hurted, Lord. Please be with us. Thank you for your many blessings and thank you for being everything we need. Amen. You may be seated.
Well, we hope that you guys have had an awesome week of prayer. I don't know about you, but I've been blessed by this week of prayer this week. And so I just want to take just a second and say thank you to a few people. I want to say thank you to Shannon Scott, to Kaylee Kelch, and say thank you to Mrs. Garapi and Mrs. Holquist. They were here every night just working with the kids and the actors. So just thank you for that. And truly we're praising God for allowing him to use them. But most of all, I want to thank you for you, because this is Student Week of Prayer. And so thank you to everyone that helped out with the acting, with the singing. It's just awesome. I just thank you. You guys are an awesome student body. You need to know that. And so I just want to say thank you. One final announcement. Tomorrow for the Youth Fest, we're going to be leaving at 9 o'clock. Is that correct? I think that's correct. We're leaving at 9 o'clock. So be out in the front parking lot at 9 a.m. To get on the bus to head up to Youth Fest. Thank you, guys. You have a happy Sabbath. Good night.